Hi, this is ROSEKL 2018. No, you're not tuning into the wrong channel. This is Agenda Wanita, special one, a tribute to women, and tune in after this. Hi, this is a very, very special Agenda Wanita. I'm very empowered the whole day today at ROSEKL 2018. Right here, hashtag ROSEKL 2018 or ROSEKL 18 or ROSEKL at Shangri-La. And dozens of powerful leaders, mainly women, has presented their case, shared their story, showed their creativity and innovation. And it's really, really powerful. Now, for those of you who didn't have time or the opportunity to be with us at Shangri-La, this is a special agenda I need to recap. And we have taken out, singled out, two great ladies to be with me tonight. And I'm just going to go straight to them. The nearest to me, the most funky KSU I've ever met and interviewed, Datuk Sirani binti Datuk Ahmad, the Secretary General, Ministry of Women, Family and Community Development Malaysia. Thank you so much for making time. Tahun Memperkasakan Wanita, TMW18 is the hashtag. And our great guest from our fellow ASEAN country, Pasita Huan, thank you so much for making time. Serial entrepreneur, do not have red blood coursing through your veins, but black coffee. So we're going to come to that later. But I want to share something. I want to pick out the best of today's inspiring moments for me. It was when the minister said that even though people were pushing for legislation that's going to make this mandatory for women, but she said, if we do that, then we're going to have to punish people who do not follow. Let's embrace. It sounds so motherly, sisterly, and grandmotherly at the same time, which is a very important thing, because without powerful matriarchs, I wouldn't be here today. So I want to start with a very basic baseline for this discussion. I'm going to ask Datuk first. You know, it's not easy to be where you are. In fact, if we use statistics, what are the chances for somebody to become you? And but you've braved through many obstacles. And I want to ask this very basic question. Did it matter along the journey that you're a woman? Or not? Or yes and no? Or what is it? Please share with us that experience, because there's still perception that if you're a woman, you have to work that much harder. If you're a woman, the ecosystem will work against you. For the civil service, for PTD as we call it in Malaysia, how has it been for you?
Well, I've been in the service for 24 years already, and being in this post is just been about 3 months and 3 days.
Yes.
It has not been a smooth journey for me. Well, 24 years. But the most memorable posting for me was when I was serving Ministry of International Trade and Industry, because there was Tan Sri Rafidah Aziz, who was the minister. She was actually my mentor.
Okay.
She was the one who actually sets how I am today, because she was being realistic and being practical about anything. And actually, that matters a lot to me. She was the one who actually made me how I am today. Those days, 24 years, 25 years ago, maybe women have to work a little bit harder to be noticed in the civil service. But over the years, I think that we are being recognized because of our work. And why we are there is because we deserve to be there, because of merit, because we work hard. It's something that we need to do. Being an officer, being a PTD officer, you really need to do the best in everything you do. So it does not matter really whether you're a woman or a man.
Yes.
It's just that about giving a full commitment to your work.
Pasita, of course, Philippines has more population as compared to Malaysia, and there's many more islands and disparity, inequality. At the same time, there's also a more rigorous form of governance in the Philippines when we look at how over the years it has shaped and evolved. But one thing that I've seen, we see female leaders of Philippines, and we've seen that not just once. So in your own field, if I repeat the same question, but I want to change with it the ecosystem that you have in the Philippines, do you think that being a woman has been a bane or an advantage, or both for you to be where you are now?
I think it's in the Philippines, men do not mind working for female superiors.
Okay.
So it's just like normal. You know, it's normal to report to a female boss. And the men still give their pay envelope to the lady in the house.
Okay.
So I think that's cultural. For me, I think the strides we made in coffee. Coffee used to be a male-dominated industry,
Okay.
but now we know that women play a very important role in coffee, especially in making sure that we produce quality coffee.
Let me add to that another layer. Sometimes, yes, it doesn't work against you or for you. Your skills, your talents, your thinking, your thought leadership, and your ability to negotiate, for example, doesn't matter man or woman. But like you said, if there was no Tan Sri Rafida, let me put it that way, then what would have happened to you? Because we all acknowledge that role models, be it in civil service or entrepreneurship, are very important. Mentors are becoming more and more recognized as something to spur talents higher. So let me put it to you that way. You're lucky to have Tan Sri Rafida. What if you have gone to another ministry?
Well, also have my own character.
Okay.
I build this character over the years because of the challenges that I have to go through.
Yes.
The work that I need to do requires me to be very meticulous in my work. I have to be very detailed in whatever I want to do because it's just me, because I want things to be done correctly, and everything has to be precise, and it has to be produced in the good time.
Yep.
At the right time, just at the right time. But I also have to mention here that my father was also a civil servant. He was also a PTD, and he was the one who actually encouraged me to become one PTD today. So is my mom. So the both of them.
When the teacher asked you in primary school, what do you want to be when you grow up, you said KSU, like that, no?
No, that's a secret.
Okay. Pasita, was role modeling very important to you when you were small growing up?
I think it's just being an entrepreneur, because my father, even if he finished in university to be a dentist, he hung up his bags, his dental stuff after 3 years and became an entrepreneur. So it is very normal in our family to be entrepreneurial.
Okay.
So the first thing he'll ask you after college is, what business do you want? I can lend you the money and you can start. So that solves a problem of finance, like you were asking me.
Okay.
So he can give you some money to start with.
There's room for an adopted brother in your family, right? I have to go for the first break, but once we are back, enough talking about gender. I mean, we are all the same. Women leaders or male leaders, we all are faced with climate change, for example. We are faced with how to make inequality and have inclusiveness in wealth creation, for example. So we will be asking the tougher questions to two great leaders after the short break. Hi, you're still watching a very special edition of Agenda Wani right here, not in Studio Wani Financial here of Bukit Kewangan, but in Shangri-La. This is ROSEKL 2018, and today we had great leaders, Haruno Yoshida, Fortune Top 50 World Greatest Leaders, among the first female CEO in Japan, and but the most powerful thing that I took out from what she said was was not about how to run a board or a company. She has only one child. She's a single mother, and she missed her only daughter's graduation. And there was one time she had to go and play golf for business in the weekend. She came back, the daughter was asleep, and there was this drawing of her. And then she remembered, oh, it's actually Mother's Day. But these are the sacrifices. And she ended with, no more sacrifices. Technology is here, digital is possible. We can have 400% productivity because we have powerful tools. And with that, I want to go to the two powerful ladies I have right beside me. We started with Malaysia first. Now I want to be fair to the Philippines. I want to start with Philippines first. It's not easy to be an entrepreneur unless you already have entrepreneurial background from your family, for example. And you have gone and helped many other entrepreneurs, not just your own pursuits. So the biggest challenge now is capital. World Economic Forum data last year shared the statistic they did with Oxfam. 4 billion people shares the same wealth with 8 families of the world. So we know that the world is not equal, and in business world, what more so? Supply chains, people are already there. Coffee growers get 10 cents. We buy at the branded designer coffee outlet for $10. So capital, blockades. The world is not made for you if you're an entrepreneur because you have to fight the already preset supply chains. What would your advice be, and how did you yourself do it?
Well, for example, if you can't do it alone, sometimes you have to ask government.
Okay.
So our government banks have lending windows for women because sometimes the first thing that's hard for a woman is to fill up a form.
Okay.
You know, they ask you all these questions, and a lot of the micro entrepreneurs don't even keep records. They just go day to day. So one is we teach them financial literacy, so to make sure they record things, because at the end of the day, you have to do that as a responsible entrepreneur.
Right.
And then you ask government to help you. So we don't ask money from government. What we use are government resources, government facilities, and we have programs like we have the Great Women Project, and it's about gender-responsive economic action for transformation of women.
Okay.
So the Philippine Commission on Women works with our foundation, and we go around the country teaching women how to make their money or how to make their business sustainable.
Give me one instance where you yourself have seen the moment that empowerment is given, the moment they know how to keep records, maintain good financial bookkeeping, how that unleashes the potential that they have.
There's a community in Sulu, which is the very south of Manila.
That's the nearest to
It's
Malaysia. Yeah.
the nearest to you,
Yeah.
and probably 99% Muslim.
Yep.
And very few people want to go there. They're scared, terrorism, etc. And we help the women there produce their coffee. They used to have no light, no water. Now the kids are watching cable TV.
Okay.
So if you just empower the leader, she can empower the rest, men and women and young girls, to go into coffee. So they were doing kopi luwak, you know, like civet coffee. But now they have roads, they have college graduates, and you can hear it from the young girls who grew up picking up the coffee, who are now 15-year-olds and 18-year-olds who are ready to also take that community, you know, on a trajectory.
Dato', for you, policy is not easy. It's not made by you. The lawmakers in parliament will make it, but you have to enforce, you have to monitor, and you have to govern. And at the same time, Malaysia's society is getting more complex. In some instances, we have females in university more than 70%, but then when we look at the workforce, hey, where are they? So all this is on your shoulders. So how are you going to push through all this, and what has been your experiences?
Yes, it falls under my shoulder. It falls under the Ministry of Women, Family and Community Development. But social issue is not an issue that is burdened into one ministry alone. Social issues covers many layers of communities. It starts with a baby just being born, and they grow up, children, and what becomes them? What happens to them later? So throughout their years, there are so many ministries that is actually involved, and it must always involve the society as well. When they were just born, we look after them. But what happens to those without parents? We take care of them. But after they leave the children's center, what happens to them? So it's a combination of several ministries and several policies. It's just not us. It has to be a combination of many other ministries, probably Ministry of Education, Ministry of Sports and Culture, Ministry of higher education as well, because after they leave school, the higher education will be the next step that they want to be. The Ministry of Human Resources as well. So it is really a big policy, a big issue that everybody needs to look at. And we hope that by engaging with all these ministries, they are really helping us a lot. All these ministries are helping us a lot in helping to address the social issues in Malaysia. It is a complex issue because Malaysia also has a diverse community and all that. And we believe by having these collaborations, it will help to build a very good nation.
Okay. I have to go for the last break, but once we're back, it's always that human story. That one child, that one entrepreneur, that one community, that, you know, the victim of flooding, for example. So I'm going to sort of gently nudge you to share all these human stories in the light of the fourth industrial revolution. The old industrial revolution from the 19th, the 20th century, the disruptions has not been solved. I mean, at a neighboring symposium, you know, one of the keynote was about green financing, and it said there directly that capitalism has not solved this problem. In fact, has made this worse, the gaps and whatever. But despite all this gap, you've got to push through to get your goal. Same thing for you. So what is it that gives you hope? You know, as climate change haunts us, as technology can create more reef, what gives you hope? And you can share that story with us. We would be very, very glad right after this short break. You're still watching Agenda Wani right here in Shangri-La for ROSEKL 2018. I'm still here with the two most powerful ladies I've ever met, actually. So, Datuk Srani, you have to do the honors now. We know Malaysia wants to do so many things. We have Vision 2020 now, we have the N50. We want to have everything good. We want to be a developed nation. At the same time, we don't want to lose our values and legacy and heritage and culture and everything else. But our football is more than 170, for example. We do have issues. But what gives you hope? What have been instances on ground? You've helped flood victims before, right on ground and everything else. What gives you hope that no matter which ministry you went to, no matter what issues the country has faced, we have always had the mettle to persevere and do better?
What gives me hope is actually the government of today, because the government of today is actually looking at all the issues at every layer. That's why every ministries have their own responsibility, and our responsibility is look at the community in many ways, in many perspectives. You mentioned about helping the flood victims. I was there because I feel that there is a need, that is a need for all of us, the government servant, to actually go down there and look at the issues that are facing by them. My hope is that the government today will continue, because our ministries are all working together in addressing all the issues that we have. We have all the children in the country with high hopes that it will be a good future that we can prepare them for. But yes, my hope is that by collaborating with other ministries and also the NGOs, with the public, the engagement with the public is very important.
I want to help you by putting what you said just now into context. you're one of the funkiest PTD officer I know on social media, right?
Wow.
Okay, so you would understand if sometimes the world that you go to work in suddenly is perceived totally upside down by the social media world. So how do you bridge these two? Because now you're in both worlds.
Well, I have to catch up with the time, and I cannot be left behind by technologies. Messages and news are all getting very fast. You know, they're all coming through the apps. So I have to catch up with them.
Right.
And I also do not want to be missed behind, and my children will be ahead of me. So
Right.
I have to be a step further than them. So I need to be more alert in that. In that sense, we have to be knowledgeable. In just not your area, you need to be knowledgeable as well in other areas as well. And this is where we can get the information faster. By getting this information faster, we can respond immediately. So that's why, well, if you call me funky, probably that's just me, because being myself, I want to be in touch with issues very fast.
But it can be a double-edged sword. Just like getting to a rose, you have to go through thorns. Sometimes there's no rationale on social media. People just dump everything just because they know you're from government, so they dump everything on you. And you feel, hey, that's not the case. But, you know, you have to address it.
Yeah, you have to address it in a very nice manner. You can't really jump into the issues immediately. You have to actually rationalize yourself first, rationalize the issue. We have to know how to respond well. Well, the government have to give facts. The government only give the right information, whereas the information coming in from the social media are most of the time are not true. It's our responsibility to address that immediately, almost immediately. Yeah.
Vasita, at the World Economic Forum also in Davos, which I just returned from, you know, for the first time, 7 co-chairs were all lady, you know. But they don't talk about man versus woman, woman versus man. They just talk about world issues, you know. When Prime Minister Narendra Modi talked about, you know, increasing wealth, one of the co-chairs was a social activist, and Chetna, and she said, if only that red carpet was also given not just to the FDI people, but to the women and street vendors in the hundreds of thousands, we can increase GDP by maybe double figures. So I'm going to give you this chance now to make the point, because there's similarities between Malaysia and Philippines. We are all Southeast Asians. You have street vendors, we have street vendors, coffee growers, we have coffee growers. So what is that one thing that we can work together as ASEAN? Because enough talking within our own confines. The world is complex. It needs more powerful innovation. So we can have to do this together.
That's why we have the ASEAN Women Entrepreneurs Network. And through this, like I was telling Dato, we have a focal point in Malaysia. We have a focal point women's organization in every ASEAN state. So that way we can string together, like we can have an e-commerce site to sell all the, even the micro entrepreneurs products on an online marketplace. Like you said, it's the Industrial Revolution 4.0. So people, whether micro or large, must be in a marketplace. And now with digital technology, online marketplaces, anybody, even if she has only 10 pieces of something, can sell something on the internet. I think that's a great equalizer.
I wish you guys can innovate time, because that's all the time I have. Always they would tell me that's the time I have. I know that. I am going for closing, but I would like to thank Dato and Pasita for making
My
time to
pleasure.
be here. But this is not the only stories that we can tell. There will be more stories tomorrow at Shangri-La. Continue hashtag ROSEKL18 or ROSEKL2018, and you can get excerpts from there. We will tell you how to get more. But that's it from me, from Agenda One tonight at Shangri-La. I'll see you in another episode very, very soon. Good night and goodbye.